Here's help on the groceries you use most. This week's Canal Villery Giant Specials. American Beauty Butter, $1.69 a pound. A 5-pound bag of Gold Medal flour is just 59 cents. Betty Crocker Layer Cake Mix is 79. Red or Golden Delicious Apples, 59 a pound. 6-pack Coke, $1.19. Big boxes of Ultra Pampers, just $8.87. And certified Angus beef steaks are on sale this week, along with more giant specials at today's Canal Villery.
I know you're saying, there's old Dean, and he's going to talk about sausage again. Wrong. I'm going to talk about chicken, I'm going to talk about steak, and I'm going to talk about biscuits. Now, you like Jimmy Dean sausage biscuits, right? So we took a tender piece of steak and a nice southern fried piece of chicken, and we put that in a biscuit. It's good for breakfast in the morning or a late night snack or any time in between. Jimmy Dean chicken biscuit, Jimmy Dean steak biscuits. You ought to know about sausage.
Entertainment this week, Saturdays at 6 on WDSU TV 6.
Good morning. Welcome to the Breakfast Edition, live from the Louisiana Children's Museum. The grand opening takes place tomorrow, but we wanted to bring you a sneak preview of all the great fun that you can have here. But don't take my word for it. Take a look at all of these kids early in the morning who are having a wonderful time. Are y'all having fun? Yes, yes. Bill Stanley, where are you? This is your kind of place.
Margaret, I wish I was over there with you. I think I may be a tad old for that, but gosh, tell us exactly where it is. I'm excited.
Bill, you are never too old for the Louisiana Children's Museum. There is a kid in all of us. It's at 428 Julius Street, which is in the Dixie Art Supply building, about 2 blocks from the Riverwalk. But, Bill, the Louisiana Children's Museum is very unusual. There are no do not disturb signs here. It's the kind of museum where every exhibit just beckons you. You want to touch it, to learn from it, to have fun from it. And that's exactly what we're going to do throughout the Breakfast Edition. By the way, you're probably interested in the weather.
Yes.
Well, the weather for today should be improving. There was a shower over at the airport a little bit earlier, and there are a few showers out along the coastal waters right now. Just a slight chance of rain, but I think we're going to have some sunshine today, mostly in the afternoon hours, a high of about 82 degrees. Bill, you've got to come out and join me sometime.
Will do, Margaret. Hug the kids for me, and we'll be going back to you very shortly. By the way, we'll be having some penguins down here this morning. I'm looking forward to that. I don't exactly know how to talk penguin, but we'll have the Money Report talking about buying an American-made car. And we also have Alec Gifford with the news. He's here now. Margaret's over at the museum, Alec, but give us the news, and we'll talk about that a little later.
Sounds like she's having a very good time over there, too. Good morning, everyone. Hi, Margaret, over at the museum. Here is the news. In New Orleans, there is now a dockworker strike. The picket lines went up at 5 o'clock this morning at key wharves along the New Orleans waterfront. These pictures were taken early this morning at the Governor Nichols Street wharf. About 5:30 a.m., the first picket showed up. The union negotiators had been underway for 5 weeks now, but the dock workers had continued on the job without a contract. Last night, apparently fed up with the lack of progress, the longshoremen decided to walk out. Could be a costly blow to a city already in deep financial trouble. News Center 6 was there last night as the strike began.
This is Len Cannon. Union members poured out of a special meeting that was called shortly after the strike was announced. The meeting lasted barely an hour, and there seemed to be unanimous support for the job action. Why do you support the strike?
Because I ain't getting nothing. They're taking everything from me, and I don't know everything I got.
On strike! Oh, all right. Yeah, you're right.
Talks with the steamship owners stalled over the matter of overtime and a proposal to reduce loading crews.
They want to cut the salary, but they want fewer men to work. Where you need men. You know, it's not no play job out there.
The sentiment among workers is that they're being asked to perform slave labor, and to accept the most recent proposal would set their jobs back 30 years. One union official said that by shutting down the port, it will have an adverse effect on the local economy that is already crippled. One worker said they're shutting down the waterfront for their livelihood.
If they resolve the strike within the next couple of days, the impact would be minimal. But if it's a prolonged strike, then what's going to happen is we're going to lose shipping from down here in the port of New Orleans, and that shipping is going to go to Houston or somewhere else. And from what I'm told by those who know in the shipping industry and the dock board, that once you lose a ship coming in as a port, once they leave that port and they find another place to go, it's tough to get them back.
Len Cannon, News Center 6.
City Hall in New Orleans will be closed today, Friday, the first of the Friday closings that will order to trim city spending. And last night, Mayor Bartholomew addressed the New Orleans City Council, outlining a very dismal state of the city. Charles Zewe reports.
On the eve of City Hall's first Friday off, Mayor Sidney Bartholomew told a television audience preceding the baseball playoffs that the $10 million austerity program his administration began will end with the new year.
Next year, we will not have to go through this kind of process. We will have a balanced budget. We are working on the budget now, and we will make sure that our expenses will equal our revenues.
Councilmen are considering a number of tax increases, including a tax on airline tickets, an advertising tax, and a $10 monthly charge to water bills to pay for police and fire. In real numbers, the deficit now stands at $7.5 million. But that will be erased by the end of the year through the 4-day work week and other cuts. The deficit is also being cut down by individual contributions. During his address, Bartholomew read from a letter by laid-off Chevron geologist Margaret Orr of Algiers, who wrote the city a check for $195. It represented all but $10 of her first unemployment check.
I wrote it to support Sidney, and I wrote it because it was fun for me to write that check. Because when I'm most down, when the cash was so bad, just to be able to do some kind of reverse civil disobedience was just a kick.
Orr added 36,000 more checks like hers, and the deficit would be taken care of. Charles Zewe, News Center 6.
Dale Brown, who speaks out on just about everything, took a rip at Louisiana politics at a news conference in which the LSU coaches were voicing their support for the job Bob Broadhead has done as athletic director. Here's what Dale Brown said.
I hope journalism in Louisiana will purge the system. I personally think everybody's sick and tired of this. I think they're sick and tired of the controversy. I think they're sick and tired of the, and I've said this before, there are people that belong at LSU that should take off their blazer that says LSU, which Skip has on, and put on Judas or Benedict Arnold. This is not to rally the Board of Supervisors. I have nothing to do with the Board of Supervisors. I don't call late at night and get votes and check on things, and you can call them all. I don't play the game very well. I think it's time that maybe the media shoulder some responsibility, because the cover of the book is always not what's on the inside.
Later, Dale Brown went on to sound the death knell, however, for Bob Broadhead by saying, "You know, and I know, that because of Louisiana politics, Bob Broadhead will never be athletic director again," with that apparently burying Bob Broadhead. Turning to high school football, two important games. First, let's get the action on Jesuit, who beat Chalmette 27-0. Coach Frank Monica really had his Blue Jays rolling last night at Tad Gormley Stadium. Third quarter action now. Jesuit on the attack. Quarterback Jimmy Triggle finds Jay Martinez on a crossing pattern. Martinez breaks 2 tackles, and he's off to the races. 37 yards for the touchdown. That makes it 27-0, and that was the last score of the game. Jesuit defeated Chalmette 27-0. Earlier in the day at Gormley, 2 unbeaten 5-0 teams. Easton and McDonough battled. This McDonough pass by Dowden is picked off by Easton's Gary Shannon. Shannon takes it back 33 yards for a touchdown to tie the game at 7 in the second quarter. But McDonough comes right back as John Wolf, on a nifty move, breaks loose on a keeper and goes all the way 53 yards for a touchdown as McDonough hands Easton its first loss, 20-7. In the National League playoffs last night, the Mets managed to even the score against the Astros despite the best effort of Houston starter Nolan Ryan. The story now and the action from NBC's Jimmy Cephalo.
The 300-game winner started well enough, fanning 5 of the first 10 Mets he faced. Here, Ryan gets Gary Carter to strike out for the 4th time in 5 playoff at-bats. Meanwhile, Bob Ojeda was grounding out the Astros. With Kevin Bass on 3rd and 1 out in the 2nd inning, Ojeda takes an Alan Ashby check swing and beats Bass to the plate. The Astro dugout had reason to worry in the 4th inning. With 2 on and 1 out, Carter finally made contact and drilled a Ryan pitch off the wall in right center. That scored Wally Backman with New York's first run of the series. The Carter blast served as a catalyst for the Mets. In the next inning, Hernandez hit a liner past Billy Hatcher in center for a 2-run triple. That hastened the departure of Ryan, who was pulled after the 3-run 5th. His counterpart, Bob Ojeda, went the distance for New York, scattering 10 hits and picking up the win to even the series at a game apiece.
I got to start shaking my head after the first 5 at-bats. I've struck out 4 times, but finally we were able to break the ice and get something going.
Somebody's got to score some runs. You know, it just happened to be them today.
The series now moves to New York for Game 3 tomorrow afternoon. Ron Darling will take them out for the Mets against Houston's Bob Nepper.
And that's the first edition of our Breakfast Edition news. Margaret Orr is over at Children's Museum. Bill Stanley, back to you.
Thank you, Alec. We'll be joining Margaret for the weather shortly. This is the Breakfast Edition, 11 minutes after 6 o'clock.
Making groceries, making groceries, Schwegman style.
It's Schwegman's annual Louisiana Week. Louisiana vegetable oil, $1.59. Luxury spaghetti, 55 cents. Special prices on Louisiana products, so you'll give them a try. Louisiana-grown calf, round, or sirloin steaks, $2.09 a pound. And Louisiana green onions, 2 bunches for 29 cents. Buy Louisiana and save at Schwegman.
Making groceries, Schwegman style. Making groceries, Schwegman style.
Did you know that Valencia oranges are the best, most expensive juice oranges in the whole world? Florida Gold orange juice is the only one that's just Valencia. Did you know that the juice at your house is made with all kinds of oranges? If your mom knew what my mom knew, she'd buy Florida Gold too. I like an intelligent woman.
Florida Gold brand orange juice. It's not a blend of all kinds of oranges. It's pure Valencia.
We're having a sale.
No, not a warehouse sale.
Not an inventory sale. Put these men to work.
No, not an off-season sale.
LAS has an offer so exciting, we can't wait for the off-season. Business is great, and we're passing the savings on to you.
LAS is offering 50% off foam core insulation and insulated glass.
This is a limited offer. Call now.
Super savings and a free gift with the estimate. Call now, 887-1515.
Save up to 70% now. Universal's warehouse sale is our greatest event of the year. So big it's famous nationwide, and it's now going on right here at 1601 Chapatulas.
We are back at the Louisiana Children's Museum, and this is Playscape. It's a special little place for children under 4 feet tall, but I think there are a few kids over 4 feet tall in here right now. There are actually some soft nooks and crannies in there that children can crawl through and have fun, and there's slides. But more importantly, there is a great big red fire engine, and there's a light on it that can be turned on. There are windshield wipers. There are all kinds of places where children can jump off and just have a good time. Now, I've got to introduce to you Mac. You'll notice that Mac is standing next to the big yardstick. Mac, go on over. Stand next to the yardstick. It looks like you're too tall to get in. Is that going to keep you out?
No.
What do you expect? This is a children's museum. There are no rules. You've got some sisters in there, don't you?
Yes, I have 2.
And you're going to go in and check on them?
Yes.
What do you think of this Louisiana Children's Museum?
It's just a fun place for kids to be.
Have you learned anything?
Not really.
But he's having a great time. The grand opening of the Louisiana Children's Museum takes place tomorrow, and it's going to be right here at 428 Julia Street. That's in the Dixie Art Supply Building on the 3rd floor. Don't let that bother you. There is an elevator that you can take up to the 3rd floor. We're going to tell you all about the grand opening festivities in just a little while, but first, I want to tell you about the weather because I know a lot of people are interested in that. It does look as though the weather's going to be improving. Let's take a look at our satellite picture from early this morning. And on the satellite, you'll notice that there is some cloudiness still just across southeast Louisiana and along the Mississippi Gulf Coast. Not quite as much as we have been having. There was a shower a little bit earlier over at the airport, but as we take a look at the Slidell radar from the National Weather Service, you'll notice that most of the rain is now off along the coastal waters across the Chandelier Islands, well south of Mobile, and well off the Louisiana Gulf Coast. For today, a 20% chance of rain, mostly because we still have that old frontal system, the old warm front, right along the coastal waters, and that's why we'll have that chance of rain. Outside right now, we are reporting temperatures on the mild side. It is 73 degrees right now over at the airport, 72 at Audubon Zoo, in Slidell, 67 degrees. The relative humidity is way up there. Barometric pressure is now steady. The wind's out of the northeast across the two states. Temperatures are on the mild side, mostly in the low 70s to upper 60s, right along the Louisiana and Mississippi Gulf Coast. On our satellite picture from across the nation, a lot of cloudiness is showing up right along the mid-Atlantic coast states. There have been some heavy thunderstorms right along the mid-Atlantic coast states and also into southwest portion of the country. Heavy thunderstorms reported across Arizona and also over into New Mexico. That's associated with a fairly strong low-pressure system and an upper-level system that's going to be pushing eastward at about and giving us a chance of rain later on in the day. National radar is showing some heavy thunderstorms, too, right along the mid-Atlantic coast states. For today, just a slight chance of rain. Let's look at our forecast map. We have a cool front that's pushing northward. I don't expect that cool front to get into southeast Louisiana or southern Mississippi, but what will happen is that we'll get some cooler air aloft. That may dry us out just a little bit, but there's still plenty of moisture across our area. And with that upper-level disturbance pushing eastward, that's going to give us a chance of rain for tomorrow afternoon, maybe even through the weekend out along the coastal waters. The winds are basically out of the east, but on Lake Pontchartrain, it's going to be choppy today with winds out of the northeast. The tides are running near normal, the range at about 2 feet. And the Fish and Game forecaster says excellent fishing coming up this morning. Right at about 7 o'clock is when it's the best. And it really goes off the excellent peak, so you may want to go fishing in the early morning hours, but forget the afternoon. Our forecast for today, we're calling for partly sunny skies later in the afternoon, but we're going to have cloudy skies this morning, a slight chance of rain mostly along the coastal waters, a high of about 82 degrees. For this evening, we'll have fair skies, early evening temperatures in the mid-70s. It actually should be pretty pleasant. And then for tomorrow morning, we'll notice an increase in cloudiness, early morning low temperatures of about 68 degrees. And for tomorrow, I would expect the morning to be okay with partly cloudy skies, but increasing cloudiness and a good chance of rain later on in the afternoon and into the evening hours. A high tomorrow of about 86 degrees. And at this point, I'd like to introduce to you Debbie Bressler, who is the director of the Louisiana Children's Museum. And with the museum opening tomorrow, I've got to imagine you're really excited.
Very excited. Excited for ourselves, excited for the kids that live in New Orleans, and especially the kids that live in Louisiana. It's a fun addition, and it's a needed addition to our state.
What about the festivities? What can we expect tomorrow?
A whole day of fun beginning at 11 o'clock to 4 o'clock. The doors will open to the museum. At 1 o'clock is the dedication ceremony and performances by young audience throughout the day. So we are really excited. There'll be food. There'll be fun for everybody. The only fee is the admission to get into the museum, which is $2.50 a person, or else with a membership, you'll get in free for the entire year. And there are different categories of memberships as well.
Tell me about the membership.
We have an individual membership that's $15, a family membership is $25, and a Family Plus, which gets you and your family and a guest in for the whole year. And then there are upper categories as well that have special benefits to them also.
Debbie Bressler, thanks a lot. We're excited that the Louisiana Children's Museum is opening, and I'm going to be here tomorrow with my family at 428 Julia Street, so I hope to see you here. We'll be back in just a moment with more of the Breakfast Edition. Bill Stanley has Steve Crowley's Money Report. Stay with us.
Dear Big Bird, I know that you love us kids and we love all of you. The most important thing I learned tonight was to treat others with love. Signed, Brett Allen Story, age 6.
UNO Lakefront Arena, October 22nd through the 26th. Tickets on sale at all Ticketmaster locations.
Friends, you can rely on it. Low down payments deliver today at Dove Herring Ford, Lincoln Mercury, and Picayune. Take a look at this car, 1981 Ford Escort GL station wagon with air conditioning. What did I tell you? Only $97 down, $97 a month. Look at the low, low price, $1,977. How about this car? Here's a 1984 Nissan Sentra with air conditioning, only $117 down, $117 a month with a low, low price, $3,977. See you here.
You can't hide. It's coming. You're about to get hit with another big energy bill.
Afraid of high energy costs? Dave Lennox knows the PowerMinder heat pump can cut those bills all year long.
Atta boy, Dave!
Hawk Heating and Air Conditioning has been serving the New Orleans area for over 38 years.
Give us a call for all your heating and cooling needs.
For dependable service or a free estimate on a quality installation, call Ray's.
We cover the New Orleans area.
I had a dream to own my own business one day. So I worked hard, and that dream came true. Then the bottom fell out. Money got real tight. There was talk of lawsuits. I got my share of threatening letters and phone calls. Then I heard about Chapter 13. It's a unique debt adjustment plan that allows me to pay my creditors and at the same time protects my property and business from sale or seizure.
Call this number for more information. It's called Chapter 13, but it could be your financial solution.
Just about 21 minutes after 6 o'clock, we'll be going back to Children's Museum with Margaret after this. If you're in the market for a new car, Money reporter Steve Crowley takes a look at the low-priced American-made cars.
Like your rear-wheel drive car.
Okay, this is a front-wheel drive.
Right.
I didn't know that. That's great. Looking for cheap wheels? The kind of prices that remind you of 1976? This Chrysler America fills the bill, a base price of about $5,500. I took the test drive. Chrysler pushes its low prices and American quality. Lee Iacocca wants you to take a test drive. Now, if you're the kind of person who likes low-cost transportation and you're just trying to get from point A to point B in a new car, no less, well, the Horizon America will do all that for you on a budget. Let's add a few options and buy this car for $7,000, a full $5,000 below average prices today. The 20% down is only $1,400. The monthly payment over 4 years is only $145. That sounds like the old days.
Our sales are up 200% over last year at this time.
Really? Twice as many being sold.
Right.
And over here at Ford, you're looking at $7,000 to $10,000 for a Ford Escort. Nothing for $5,500 here. Even so, Ford Escorts are very popular subcompacts. And Ford has plans for a still smaller, less expensive car. Made in Korea, though. The Festiva, with a Mercury version, too.
But they're both designed for the same spot on the market, and that's the less expensive car that'll just run forever, not necessarily have all the buttons that we like to have on our cars.
Let's not leave General Motors out. Its Chevrolet Chevette sells for about $6,000. The sister car, the Pontiac 1000, carries the same price. Of course, some American cars are made by Americans and the Japanese, like the Chevrolet Sprint. It's part Suzuki. And if you'd like more information on buying low-price cars made right here in America, well, just write me here at the station, and please send along your self-addressed stamped envelope. I'm Steve Crowley with your Money Report.
22 minutes after 6 o'clock is the time, and things are bubbling up at the Louisiana Children's Museum, and Margaret will demonstrate right after this.
How would you like a savings account that pays the best interest earnings in town for its type, with a floating rate that has no ceiling? An account that allows you to keep control of your money without locking it up. One so simple you can bank by mail, and so safe it's insured by the FDIC. First Eastern Bank and Trust offers what is still the best deal in town, Prime Savings. Cash in on it now, only at First Eastern Bank and Trust.
Time. If you feel time is slipping away, if you or someone you know is feeling overwhelmed, depressed, or unable to cope, help is just a phone call away. 733-CARE puts you in touch with River Oaks Crisis Center, dedicated to assuring that you are never alone in times of crisis. If you need help or someone to talk to, River Oaks Crisis Center always has the time. Call 733-CARE. River Oaks Crisis Center, a service of River Oaks Psychiatric Hospital, New Orleans.
On the next entertainment tonight,
We got to do something really big.
we're going all out for the very best from Beverly Hills to Philadelphia, PA. First, Kirk Douglas is serving up the laughs in a brand new comedy that's really cleaning up at the box office. Then, from Melrose to Rodeo Drive, see who's looking good as we check out what's up and in Beverly Hills. Plus, we'll wrap up our fling in Philly with a flashback to the swinging 60s, all on entertainment tonight. Friday night at 6:30 on WDSU TV 6.
Michael's Lazy Boy Showcase shops are having a super 2-for-1 price sale on all Lazy Boy recliners. Now's the time to save big bucks during this gigantic 2-for-1 price sale, only at Michael's Lazy Boy Showcase shops.
We are all bubbling with enthusiasm over the grand opening of the Louisiana Children's Museum. It all takes place tomorrow at 428 Julius Street. That's in the Dixie Art Supply Building up on the 3rd floor. It's about 2 blocks from the Riverwalk. And this has got to be my favorite exhibit. It's called Bubbles, wouldn't you know it? And here you can learn everything you ever wanted to know about soapy water. But program director Jerry Mulder says you can learn a whole lot more. Now, to be perfectly honest, Jerry, this looks like it's just plain fun. What can you learn here?
Well, fun it is, and that's part of the point, is how to learn and have fun at the same time. The children, while they're playing with many of the various exhibits in the bubble area, are learning things about surface tension, about geometry, about architecture even. Some of the bubble domes that are built over on the other table actually are used by architects to how to design houses in a very efficient way.
Why don't we go on over then to the bubble dome, because I want to see this. Let's just walk on over. There is a bubble dome here. Here, if we could just see what's going on right over here.
Boy, there we go.
This is the bubble dome.
So the camera can see over here.
Now, what's going on here?
Okay, they're blowing bubbles on a surface, which makes it be a dome rather than a totally round sphere. But nature is very good at being efficient. Whenever nature creates something, it does it in the most efficient way possible. And if you want to enclose air, the most efficient way to do it is with something round. It takes energy to poke out into square things.
JB, can you see all of these bubbles being blown over here? Let's move over just a little bit. And I want to talk to the little girl over here. What is your name?
I'm Gina Richardson.
Now, you look very proficient at blowing bubbles. Have you had much practice?
No, I just came here and started making them. I think it's neat.
Is it fun?
It's neat to watch them grow up because you don't think it can happen, but it does.
Now, we've got another little girl who's been working at it. How do you like that?
Fine.
Fine. That's what a lot of little girls would say. It's lots of fun. Well, this is the bubble dome, and it helps with architecture, but there's some more bubbles being blown over here. Jerry, show me the rest.
Oh, over here.
Take a look at this. What is this?
This is called bubble cells, and what we're doing here is blowing bubbles between 2 thin sheets of plexiglass so that we can see how bubbles connect to each other. Again, nature's very efficient in how it does this. And always when bubbles connect, they do it in a Y shape. You never have more than 3 bubbles at any juncture. And the interesting thing about this is bubbles is not the only place in nature we find this configuration. Dragonfly wings, giraffe spots, when mud dries on the ground, it cracks in that same Y pattern.
Now, are there going to be people here explaining this to the children as they come through?
Yes, we have people, you'll see them dressed in little gold aprons who will be around to answer questions and help the children kind of understand what's going on behind the scenes. School groups will be coming through and the teachers will be given information so they can take these ideas back to the classroom and expand on them even further.
Well, I see the kind of bubble I'm used to blowing. May I have one of these? Let me just see this one. Bill Stanley, I'm going to see if I can blow a bubble. I wonder if I've lost my touch. Well, I think I need some practice.
Besides blowing bubbles, notice how the soap film connects on that.
Ah, I like that. This is at the Louisiana Children's Museum. It is fun, it is exciting, and it's a place where children can learn. And what is really exciting is that it's opening here in New Orleans tomorrow, the grand opening. We'll tell you more about it right here on the Breakfast Edition, so don't go away. I'll work on my bubbles.
The world's largest circus under the big top, the Clyde Beatty Cole Brothers Circus, is coming your way. 3 rings of family entertainment with lions, tigers, and for the first time anywhere, performing ligers, astonishing acrobats, and the flying trapeze. More clowns than ever and exciting high-wire artists. Horses, dogs, and 3 herds of performing elephants, all under a canvas arena larger than a football field. See local papers for ticket information and showtime. Don't miss the all-new 1986 edition of the Clyde Beatty Cole Brothers Circus, entertaining Americans for more than a century.
When you're out overnight, after a day like today, where do you go for some peace and quiet? La Quinta Inn's, just right, overnight.
If your house suffers from cracking, chipping, peeling, or rotting, you could be needlessly dumping money into your home. Hundreds, even thousands of dollars spent year after year. Well, Southern Siding can eliminate that needless spending with our beautiful overhangs and vinyl siding. Our siding is guaranteed not to crack, chip, or peel for as long as you own your home, so you'll never have to paint again. Just think of the money you'll save. And because our siding further insulates your home, you'll save on your utility bills. Why spend money when you don't have to? Call Southern Siding and start saving today.
Apples. Apples. Sweet, juicy apples. And when Mackenzie's makes an apple pie, you can bet they use only the best. This weekend's special is apple pie for just $1.99, as only Mackenzie's can make them. And don't miss the grand opening of another Mackenzie's at 1120 Roma Avenue in Hammond. Get a free loaf pound cake with the purchase of $2 or more at the Hammond store only.
This is the breakfast edition for Friday, and we have Margaret Orr at the Louisiana Children's Museum, which opens tomorrow, grand festivities. We hope you can include it in your agenda for tomorrow, and we'll be previewing the museum a little bit later on here on the breakfast edition. The weather, well, Margaret tells us it's going to be cloudy this morning, partly cloudy in the afternoon, and kind of warm with a high of about 82. Now let's get to the news with Alec Gifford. Alec?
Okay, and don't forget we have those penguins going to be with us in the studio this morning. In fact, they're already here. I found a trail of ice water across the studio a moment ago. They have to put ice in the bottom of the penguins to keep them cool, so we'll be telling you about them in just a few minutes. So hello again, everyone. First, let's get the latest on the dock strike. Indeed, it began this morning. It actually started late last night. Pickets were scheduled to begin walking the various docks at 5 o'clock this morning, and sure enough they did. We found them this morning at the Governor Nichols Street Wharf. The negotiations had continued for several days, but the men had continued working. But last night they decided to hang up their work gloves and get out their picket signs, and the strike was underway. These were the pickets this morning on the New Orleans waterfront, shot by photographer Tip Cunningham early this morning about 5:30 a.m. The first picket showing up on the waterfront, between 5 and 5:30. All the wharves are shut down right now. The strike is underway, as Beverly Carr reports.
All 4 locals of the International Longshoremen's Association, representing 2,000 dock workers, are on strike. After an up-and-down day of negotiations, Local 3000 President Clyde Cormier stalked out of the bargaining room and announced what the Port of New Orleans was dreading.
We're going to down the ship as of now, as of right now. I don't see why it should ever come to that, because every other port in the South Atlantic have agreed to pay the time and a half. Every port in the East Gulf area was willing to pay the time and a half. When the management group refused to pay it here, they pulled it off the table in the East Gulf. The game is being played right here. If they want to choose this as the battleground, that's where the fight will be.
I don't care what they do for dinner. We want them off the ship.
The longshoremen, cargo handlers, clerks and checkers, sack sewers, and water boys ironically left the Harmony Street Wharf, but their feelings were less than harmonious.
Oh, yeah, sure. Because throwing this down our throat, this ain't no good. It's taking stuff we done accomplished 20 years ago. They're trying to take it from us. They should have been on strike. I don't know what took them so long.
Said they're going on strike. That's what I heard, you know.
Are you glad?
Well, in a way of speaking, I am the one way of speaking, you know. I think they should have went on strike in front.
What they want is the overtime and wages they've been demanding all along. Shippers have steadfastly contended they can't afford to pay what the ILA wants. The Port of New Orleans says it's definitely going to hurt the city.
We're just going to have to wait and see.
whether ships will actually end up working tomorrow. We're in for a very unsettled time, there's no question about it. We also need to wait and see if there are any cargoes or ships diverted from our port. One thing that is for sure, this community can ill afford this kind of job action.
I'm Beverly Carr, News Center 6.
Soviet leader Mikhail Gorbachev is now en route to Iceland. President Reagan is already there. Steve Porter reports from Iceland.
The president came to Iceland for what he says are preliminary talks leading up to a summit in Washington later on. But the Soviets have come here in full summit regalia. They give regular briefings, and with the arrival of Gorbachev and his wife in a couple of hours, it will be for them a very real summit. The small house where the talks will be held is said to be haunted, but the two leaders and their aides were looking for just a cozy location. If expected, the president and Gorbachev will hold their private sessions in this small room of the old house. The president plans no social events while he is here, and no joint communique or joint appearance before the press with Gorbachev. It's to be strictly business as far as he is concerned, and it's expected he'll report to the American people when he returns, possibly Monday night. On his way to this Northern Ireland nation, the president signed a 2-day continuing budget resolution which runs out tonight. And he wants a 12-month one completed, signed, and sealed without congressional restrictions before he begins his talks with Gorbachev tomorrow. Steve Porter, NBC News, with the president in Reykjavik.
The New Orleans City Council is considering a tax on airline tickets, on vending machines, even a $10 monthly fee for police and fire protection to try to get the city through this financial crisis. Clancy Dubos reports from City Hall.
The new tax proposals were introduced as councilmen continue to scramble for ways of wiping out a $10 million deficit this year. So far, they can do no better than to tell city workers, we're working on it. So the 4-day work weeks will continue at least until November. That's the soonest any of the proposals can be adopted.
It's not that the city doesn't have the money available to it to pay persons. The problem is that the city does not have available to it income items.
Mike Early's proposed $10 monthly fee for fire and police protection is considered the most likely prospect for help this year.
If passed by the council, it would be probably just a 1-month service charge for 1986. It would generate about $900,000. And then the plan would be to put it to a vote of the public, the earliest date, and that would be January 17th, 1987.
Early says even though the money is badly needed for the police and fire departments, he still wants to put the measure on the ballot in January. That way, voters will have to decide whether they want to pay for police and fire protection. Clancy Dubos, News Center 6 at City Hall.
City Hall, of course, is closed today. This is the first of the Friday closings that have been ordered between now and the end of the year in order to help balance that budget. The state police may be forced with the resignations of several high-ranking officers. Colonel Jimmy Champagne, the number 3 man among state troopers, has confirmed that he plans to retire today. He said a number of other top troopers also plan to turn in their badges to protest state budget cuts. State Police Commander Colonel Wiley McCormick said that more than 51% of all state police officers are already eligible for retirement, which could lead to many other troopers quitting their jobs.
It's got me very concerned.
Just because of the budget cuts, is that?
Yes, it has to do with I think it's got to do with several things. The budget cuts, which are adversely affecting their salaries and making it not as a financial necessity to state, and they just a general concern about what's happening to the state police.
State cutbacks have already trimmed the ranks of those troopers by the hundreds. And now, here's a look at those penguins that are with us this morning on the breakfast edition. Joan Malter visited them at their new residence at the Audubon Zoo.
Pete and Paul are Magellanic penguins that will make their home for the next couple months in the zoo's Asian domain.
Of course, with all penguins, instead of having a wing, you have a modified wing which becomes a flipper so that they can swim. And it is all of these, it almost looks like fur, but these are feathers. They're all feathers, just like other birds.
Unlike most penguins, the penguins that will be in this exhibit live in temperate climates. And voters may decide to keep them in New Orleans permanently.
It's our plans to house these penguins permanently on exhibit at our downtown riverfront aquarium and park. As you know, that will be on the ballot on November 4th.
The penguin exhibit is being sponsored by a private company.
The zoo represents a real success story for the community,
And we feel like it's a good example of what can happen when private business works with individuals and with the city to do something good.
Paul, Pete, and 10 more of their fine feathered friends will be on display at the zoo as of October 17th. Joan Malter, News Center 6.
And Paul and Pete, Bill Stanley, you will meet in Poison in just a moment.
Which leads me to wonder what happened to Mary. You know, Peter, Paul, and Mary.
Oh, Bill. Take it away, Stanley.
Anyway, we're looking forward to that, and we'll be going back to Children's Museum and joining Margaret Orr shortly. Stay with us on the breakfast edition. The time now is 20 minutes till 7.
Weiner Court Furniture Rental announces the grand opening of its newly remodeled clearance center. Shop our showroom filled to capacity with all new displays at all new grand opening prices, like 4.5 cubic foot dorm refrigerators, $69, 50% off regular prices on all double, queen, and king-size mattress and box springs. Wooden bedroom set including dresser, mirror, headboard, and frame, $169. 4-drawer chest, $49. 5-drawer chest, $59. Decorator-style sofa and chairs, $166. Full-size headboard and frame, $29.
The real superstore. The big question isn't about what we sell. The big question isn't about how huge our selection is or how spectacular we are. The big question is about the real superstore's prices. Well, we can answer that in 3 words. Cheaper than Schwegman. And we don't mean on 1 or 2 items. We mean on all Schwegman's advertised grocery prices, the real superstore is cheaper. Airline at Cleary between Causeway and Clearview.
Thank goodness for the Sears authorized plumber. He won't let you down. Sears is a name you can trust.
Call now.
We are back at the Louisiana Children's Museum. We're giving you a sneak preview of all the fun and excitement here, and there are lots of kids here this morning. They're all the sons and the daughters of the people who have worked very hard to make this museum a reality. We are now in raceways, and the balls are used for gravity, for friction, to show how it all works. Jerry Mulder here, program director. What exactly are they learning here?
Well, the exhibits in the raceways area explain a lot of physics. There's objects in motion. Here, this can is going around in a circular motion, and they're trying to match it up with a ball going in a linear motion. Then there's loop-to-loop motions. Also the idea of gravity, making a ball slow down and come to a stop.
I tell you what, Jerry, it sounds all very complicated, but the kids make it look easy, and that's simply because it's so much fun. I've also got to tell you that they have an anemometer here. That measures wind, anemometer. It's hard to say, and I've been long-winded, so I'm getting on to the weather. Let's take a look at the satellite picture, and we still have some cloudiness over southeast Louisiana, southern Mississippi, due to that frontal boundary that's still out along the coastal waters. On our Slidell radar, just a couple of showers showing up. We had one over at the airport not too long ago, but now the showers are right out along the coast south of Mobile, too. Outside right now, temperatures are on the mild side. We are reporting 73 degrees over at the airport, 72 at Audubon Zoo, in Slidell, 67 degrees. Across the 2 states, temperatures basically in the low 70s to upper 60s. That's across the 2 states. There you can see up in Monroe, reporting 66 degrees. Here's a wide view of our satellite picture, and a lot of cloudiness out along the mid-Atlantic coast states. They've had some heavy thunderstorms there. Heavy thunderstorms, too, have been reported over southwest portion of the United States, Arizona, into New Mexico. That's associated with a little low-pressure system and an upper-level disturbance that's pushing eastward. That's going to give us a better chance of rain for Thursday afternoon. On our national radar, there are some heavier thunderstorms also showing up just along the mid-Atlantic coast states, right along the coastal waters of Florida. The forecast map for today, it's going to be cool up in the northern plains, the upper Mississippi Valley. In fact, temperatures are expected to be only in the 40s and the 50s for today. Our weather looks like we're going to have that frontal system basically stationary over North Louisiana. It's not going to push into our area. We're going to have the frontal boundary, the old warm front out along the coast. That will give us a slight chance of showers during the day, mostly in the afternoon hours, but I think we'll have partly sunny skies by this afternoon. Now, that upper-level disturbance is pushing eastward, so that means a chance of rain for Saturday afternoon, a pretty good chance. Along the coastal waters now, the winds are out of the east at 10 to 15 knots, seas at 2 to 3 feet. The tides are running near normal, the range at about 2 feet. We've had the highs for today, the lows coming up this afternoon. And the Fish and Game forecaster says excellent fishing at about 7:30 this morning, and it's off the charts. So go fishing this morning. It looks pretty mediocre for the rest of the day. Our forecast, we're calling for cloudy skies in the morning, becoming partly sunny later in the afternoon, a slight chance of showers mostly along the coast, a high today of 82 degrees. Then for this evening, we'll have fair skies. A light wind should be pleasant, temperatures near 75 degrees. A low tomorrow morning of about 68, so that's pleasant, but an increase in cloudiness all the way through tomorrow with a good chance of rain by Saturday afternoon. And Bill Stanley, I understand that there are penguins that are arriving right now at WDSU. I look forward to seeing those penguins. Have fun.
Come, feel the freshness. Tropicana Pure Premium shades your morning with a taste so fresh, so pure, so natural. Pure Premium. Only Florida oranges. With nothing added, nothing taken away. The taste could only be one. Feel the freshness. It's pure Tropicana.
Next on Superior Court.
What did the defendant say?
That he'd killed the devil.
It was clearly a case of murder.
But that's not the end of this case.
The defense cops a plea.
The defendant was temporarily insane at the time he killed Lillian Perry.
Temporarily insane or calculating killer?
Scotty murdered my mother.
The issues are real.
She was going to take my soul.
The decision's final. Superior Court.
At 4 p.m. on WDSU TV 6.
Furniture shoppers, this is St. Germain's biggest sale in history. Their first ever one-week-only warehouse clearance sale from 50,000 square feet of never-before values. Look at these items, look at these prices, then hurry to St. Germain's for sensational savings plus $1,500 instant credit. Same-day free local delivery and absolutely the lowest one-week prices you'll ever find on hundreds of name-brand furniture and appliances only from St. Germain's. Only for 1 week, some quantities limited. Sale ends this Saturday, 8 p.m. at St. Germain's Furniture, 2432 Belle Chase Highway. Look for our ad in Classified News.
It's about 14 minutes before 7 o'clock. We have some guests to introduce to you this morning. First of all, David Anderson, who is General Curator at Audubon Zoo, and also Peter, who is the Curator for Birds up at Audubon Zoo.
Good morning.
And,
good morning.
Good morning. And you brought along a couple of fellows here. This is Peter and Paul. I don't know which is which, do you?
This is Pete.
To the left is Peter.
Right.
And that's Paul.
That's right.
Now, Magellan saw him first, I understand.
That's right. Supposedly he saw them long ago, I guess in the 1500s.
And they are native to Argentina and Chile?
Right, in that area of southern South America.
Well, that is a temperate zone. These are not Antarctic penguins, then?
That's correct. They do not occur in the area of Antarctica where you have the freezing temperatures, the 28-degree temperatures.
From what I've been able to figure out in reading some research on these birds, in the wild, 2 eggs are laid by the female, only one of which is hatched. And when you take an egg, and I understand these eggs were taken in the wild and brought into captivity and hatched at the San Diego Zoo, huh?
That's right. They were taken in December of 1984, and because they do lay 2 eggs but raise only 1, they generally take the first egg, and then the mother raises the second egg, so it doesn't bother the population any. Then they take the egg back to the zoo in San Diego, and they hatch it there and hand rear the animal, get the animal adjusted to a diet there, and then they've been trying to breed them at the facility in San Diego.
Peter, tell us a little bit about these birds. What do they eat, for example?
Well, we feed them herring and smelt. We get frozen fish that we have for the rest of the animals at the zoo. So they eat the same things a lot of the other birds eat at the zoo.
Where, you feed them once a day?
Feed them twice a day.
Twice a day?
They get 2 to 4 fish at each feeding.
Well, do you have any ice around? Do you keep them in cold water, or do you have ice available to them?
Well, right now, until the exhibit's ready, we have them in an air-conditioned room. And we keep the water iced down just to keep them cool.
David and Peter, we understand that the swamp exhibit will be opening formally tomorrow at Audubon Zoo. Tell us a little bit about that.
Well, the swamp, of course, has been open for quite a while, but what we're having is a festival, Swamp Festival, where we have some good Cajun food that's going to be out there and some activities and some craft people that are going to show what they do. So it should be a lot of fun out there.
Well, we hope you folks will come out and see Peter and Paul, the penguins, and so many other things. My family visited the zoo last week, and they were just amazed at what's available to the folks up there to see. And we hope you'll bring the family and come out and meet these newcomers who are visiting from the San Diego Zoo. Yes.
Yeah, the penguins will be in the exhibit on Friday afternoon, let's see, that's the 17th of October. That's a week from today. We're going to get the rest of them down from Ohio, where they're staying temporarily, and all be there. And we're going to try to hold them on exhibit there through the holidays, if we can. And then we'll see what happens. But we're hoping that with the aquarium, if the aquarium can go through, that these animals can be used in the aquarium.
Very good, David and Peter and Paul. Thank you very much. This is a breakfast edition on TV6, and we'll be back to Margaret shortly.
If you're ready for a new mattress, get it now at Kirschman's. Buy the best and save during Sealy's nationwide Sealy Fest. Get savings from Sealy plus savings from Kirschman's on top quality Sealy mattresses and box springs, including Posturepedic, Firm, Extra Firm, and Luxury Firm. All with 15-year warranties. Twin, full, queen, and king. All at big savings. Twins from just $88 each piece. Queens from just $288 a set. Get free delivery and big savings. If you're thinking new bedding, get it now at Kirschman's.
We get seafood right from the Gulf, fresh and natural. And the perfect way to fry it? With fixings fresh and natural, like Louisiana fish fry, for a crisp golden crust. And Louisiana vegetable oil, good and hot, for a flaky, moist inside. C'est si bon. Nothing better. Louisiana fish fry has a fishing boat on the box, just like Louisiana oil has a white farmhouse. Louisiana fish fry and vegetable oil, for perfect fried fish, fresh and natural.
The law offices of Henry Dart, a law firm to work for you.
We take the mystery out of seeing a lawyer. At Henry Dart, our policy with accident cases is simple. You can see us for free, and there's no fee unless your claim is won and you collect. With other problems, such as divorce and family matters, your rights will be explained in advance, so there are no surprises. When you need someone to look out for you, we'd like to help.
Henry Dart, working for you.
Safety first. It's a snap with Southern Savings.
Probably one of the most exciting exhibits here at the Louisiana Children's Museum is the Port of New Orleans. And it's actually a mini Port of New Orleans. There is a dock, and we're sitting on the dock right now. There is also a big cargo ship with a crane that can unload all of the cargo, and that's what the kids have been doing today, too. There is a tugboat, and on the tugboat is that bell that you've been hearing a lot of, the one that's been ringing obnoxiously. There it goes. I was wondering why all of a sudden it was so quiet. There is lots going on here at this mini Port of New Orleans. There's a bridge overhead. There's a mural painted in the background that shows the river. And right now the kids are all playing on the tugboat and on the cargo ship. But you know, I would imagine that a lot of children who live in New Orleans have not even been to the Port of New Orleans. There, now the bell is really going. I'm going to ask a few children right here. Oh, yeah, look, there's a bug. Have you ever been to the Port of New Orleans?
I think so. Wait, is it when you go to the boats and watch them unload?
You've actually seen that?
I think so, yeah.
That's pretty good, because I wouldn't think... James, what about you? Have you been to the Port of New Orleans?
I don't know.
Have you ever seen ships being unloaded?
Yes.
Okay, so he's been to the Port of New Orleans. At this point, I'd like to introduce to you the president of the board of directors of the Louisiana Children's Museum. Her name is Karen Geiger-Eustace. And Karen, I understand that when you took over back in February, $33 was in the bank.
Yes, we were kind of in a dormant stage. But we decided that although we had dreams of doing a big, wonderful museum someday, it was really important to just get going, to let people know what a children's museum was, and the best way to do that is by doing it. You know, I mean, the same way the kids are learning, that's the way the community will learn what a children's museum is about.
But it takes money to do it, and you started with $33. How did we get all of this, which is wonderful?
We got it by a whole lot of people contributing, and that goes for volunteers and in-kind services and donations and cash. So it was a whole lot of people doing a little bit, that we don't have any great angel or patron. It's really a project built by the community. It's a whole lot of enthusiasm and a whole lot of belief that this is what our kids need.
And in fact, with all of these people contributing, you raised how much money?
Oh, we raised about $350,000 in cash and well more than $100,000 in contractors donating labor and materials. And I can't tell you how much in volunteer time. I mean, there's the volunteer spirit, and from all segments of the community, and from Chalmette and from Kenner and the eastern part of New Orleans. Really, it's a community project. It's been fabulous. It's got a spirit to it that you can't believe.
And I've seen the spirit here. I'm excited about this grand opening, and there's lots more to come in the future, don't you think?
Oh, sure, because in addition to the exhibits we have here and a few more that get moved in between now and noon, we also will have special events. We'll have workshops and performances on weekends, and then we have traveling exhibits. We've already reserved a fabulous one from Boston. So
I'm
there's
so
lots
excited
to come.
All of this at the Louisiana Children's Museum. The grand opening is tomorrow, right here at 428 Julia Street. It starts at 11. It goes until 4. I'm going to be here with my family. I hope to see you here for the big celebration. With that, we'll take a break and be right back with more of the Breakfast Edition. As you can see, we're having a great time.
If you've had any kind of back or neck problem but feel you can't afford care, your worrying days are over. The Berman physicians offer their NUPE plan. NUPE means no out-of-pocket expense to you. You come into our clinic and we'll send in your insurance forms. That's it. You owe the Berman clinics no more than your insurance will pay. That means no deductibles, no co-payments, no balances. In conjunction, we offer a free consultation. Call today for an appointment. The Berman Clinics.
Hi, I'm Melinda Bartley, Vice President for the Urban League of Greater New Orleans. For 47 years, the Urban League has been a provider of direct services and a builder of interracial coalitions for constructive change and equity within the system. Help ensure our continued success. Support the Urban League.
Dear Big Bird, I know that you love us kids and we love all of you. The most important thing I learned tonight was to treat others with love. Signed, Brett Allen Story, age 6.
UNO Lakefront Arena, October 22nd through the 26th. Tickets on sale at all Ticketmaster locations.
If you think you can never wear Lee press-on nails because of the active things you do, try these. Active length Lee press-on nails. Easy to put on as natural length, as flattering as glamour length Lee press-on nails, but in a length that beautifies active hands. Active length Lee press-on nails. Beautiful, yet sturdy enough to use over and over. They take your favorite polish so well, they're almost impossible to chip. Active women press-on. Lee active length press-on nails.
Michael's Lazy Boy Showcase shops are having a super 2-for-1 price sale on all Lazy Boy recliners. Now's the time to save big bucks during this gigantic 2-for-1 price sale, only at Michael's Lazy Boy Showcase shops.
Okay, Alec.
The dock strike is underway in New Orleans this morning, and City Hall is closed, the first of the Friday closings. And that's it from right now. Bill?
And we'll say goodbye with Margaret. She'll do all the honors for us this morning.
Bye-bye. It's been great here. Hope to see you for the grand opening tomorrow.
Join me for What's Cooking, brought to you by Winn-Dixie, right after this message.
Time, it's the right time. Dixie's changing right with you.
See the
the beef people for U.S. Choice Beef. A whole boneless ribeye is only $2.99 a pound. Apple lovers love Washington Extra Fancy Large Red Delicious Apples, now 49 cents a pound. Winn-Dixie has 2-liter Coke for 88 cents each, and KHOU Super Brand Ice Cream, sherbet, or ice milk, a super low 99 cents a half gallon. Shop Winn-Dixie, America's supermarket.
The island of Bermuda was discovered in 1503 by Juan de Bermudez. The coral reefs that surround the island had made it the site of many shipwrecks, and the word was that the whole place was haunted. Well, it's still haunted, not with spirits, but with people from all over the world who have found Bermuda's beautiful beaches. It also has over 100 tennis courts and 9 golf courses. There's deep-sea fishing, sailing, motorboating, and diving for sunken treasure. And when those visitors get home, they're haunted by the memory of the good cooking of Bermuda. This is a great soup prepared by Chef Dennis McIntosh. He uses whatever vegetables are in season. Today it's celery, onion, green pepper, carrots, zucchini, turnips, and potatoes. 1 cup of each is chopped and then added to an ounce of butter that's been melted in a saute pan. The vegetables are sauteed for about 5 minutes. And a half cup of tomato puree goes in, a few minced herbs, thyme, marjoram, freshly ground pepper, about a 1/4 teaspoon of each. Then 2 tablespoons of Worcestershire sauce, 3 cups of V8 juice, and 2 cups of water. Let that cook together for about 5 minutes and serve with a little minced parsley on top. If you'd like a copy of that recipe, just send a stamped self-addressed envelope marked Bermuda Vegetable Soup. Send it to 30 Lincoln Plaza, New York City, New York. The zip is 10023. From the island of Bermuda, that's what's cooking for today. I'm Bert Wolf.
For a little while, right?
Just for a little while. Yeah.
How long are you going to be gone from us?